in Saudi Arabia, we're expecting a deficit this year, maybe somewhere between, maybe as high as 15% of GDP. That's in line with what we're seeing around the world. But here, that deficit is going to be covered by sovereign wealth funds. And I think there's a real desperate attempt. What they're trying to do, the authorities are trying to do, is keep hold of sovereign wealth. And to do that means putting the country on a fiscally sustainable path. And they are not willing to wait. I mean, anyone who thought that Saudi Arabia wasn't really vested into fiscal control is definitely proved wrong. I mean, it will have a negative impact potentially on sentiment, but I guess the authorities there are more concerned to save the money of as much wealth as they can and invest in the long-term diversification of the economy. Maybe they think that things are so bad with COVID that, frankly, they might as well introduce all these additional measures at the same time.
And it's interesting as well because the pandemic has obviously had a huge impact across the Middle East, but in many ways, it's also hit fast forward on a number of key transformation plans. I think the VAT in Saudi Arabia is just one illustration of that, a complete reshifting of the economy, changing the way that economic activity takes place in that country and certainly creating perhaps a new way of doing across the region. Chris, to the other point though, how do you think this is going to impact policy settings in the UAE, which has also been hit hard by the virus? And let's not forget a collapse in oil prices as well. Both of these countries now facing a lower for longer oil price environment.
Absolutely. So one of the things to remember about the UAE is that obviously, number one, the oil wealth resides with Abu Dhabi. Okay, and so that immediately raises a different set of responses, say in Dubai, as for Abu Dhabi. Now, the first thing to say is that although the deficit in the UAE at a general government level will probably be in a similar scale to Saudi Arabia, the actual wealth that, say, Adia has, or Abu Dhabi has, or Mubadala has, is higher than what the Saudis have, which means that this year's deficit will use up a much smaller proportion of their sovereign wealth, certainly probably less than 5%, which means that there's less pressure on Abu Dhabi this year or on the UAE government to actually raise VAT. So I don't think we're going to see similar measures in 2020 in the UAE.